As Hillary Clinton prepares to likely formally announce her 2016 presidential candidacy, new details have emerged about her use of private email during her tenure as Secretary of State. Emails show that Clinton emailed on her iPad in addition to her BlackBerry, which would seemingly contradict some of the comments she's made, that she used a single email account for the convenience of having one device. And at least one of the new emails shows that Clinton mixed personal and professional emails, accidentally sending personal business on a professional email chain. To discuss this and a lot more, joining us is our CBS News political director, John Dickerson. He's in New York, and national political reporter at the New York Times, Amy Chozick. Welcome to both of you. John, let me start with you here in studio. What do you make of this?
Well, I think it doesn't. I think voters have processed this. We're a long way from the actual election, even caucuses in Iowa, but this is more chum in the water for Hillary Clinton's congressional pursuers, her investigators, and she's going to go up in front of Congress probably, and this is one more thing that they can press her on, one more thing she's going to have to answer for months from now, whenever that testimony happens, or when she has to answer for that. That's when it might matter. On the subject of that chum in the water, Amy, so Trey Gowdy now says he wants to have this private conversation with Hillary Clinton. Any chance that happens?
I think our spokesman has been pretty upfront that she's wanted to talk about this probably on the committee. I'm not sure if she wants to have the private conversation, but it seems like as much public conversation as she can have about it, the better, because there is this narrative of secrecy and not being transparent. I think the press conference a couple weeks ago, while it didn't go exactly as they wanted it to, it was part of an effort to say she's ready to talk about this and she's open to questions.
John, how do all these interactions with the committee play out, and what's the time frame?
Not sure of when she will do this. Maybe Amy may know. I'm not sure when she'll go up. But I mean, it's clearly the closer it is to any actual voting that takes place, the worse for her. Because right now, even though we're obsessed and her announcement is something that everybody's following closely, we'll fall into a period where people won't be following this that closely. And to the extent that she is in front of a committee, pressured, hounded, and has a moment where she falls off script, that can become a problem for her. And inconsistencies, and particularly inconsistencies in this story about two devices and so forth and so on, could be, the kind of trap that would cause that kind of issue.
Amy, from your reporting, what do you gather? I know it's still coming together, but what do you think that campaign is going to look like? How much do you think Bill Clinton is going to be involved?
Well, I think, the big dog is a big question. Certainly, he is her best asset, one of the smartest strategic thinkers. His popularity is in the high 60s, so the country very much loves him. At the same time, as we saw in 2008, one stray comment from the former president carries such weight that it completely can change the narrative of the campaign. It can change the tenure of the campaign. And so I think there's also a lot of discussion about how to best utilize him while keeping him on script. And also there's the issue of him sort of stealing her thunder. I think John was in Iowa when Hillary Clinton returned in September, and it was supposed to be sort of her reintroducing herself to the state. And I think Bill Clinton stole a lot of the attention. I think people were very focused on him. And sometimes we see some of those more interesting comments from him when he feels like she's under attack. Absolutely. I think one of his hardest times when you see him struggling to stay under control is when his wife is under attack.
John?
Yeah, I think you could make the case that Bill Clinton was more helpful to Barack Obama than he will be to his wife. As Amy quite rightly points out, he knows the landscape, he knows how to play politics, but he also had that kind of fingertip feel for politics, not just what to do in the grand strategy, but how to move in the moment. Well, he's not in the limelight anymore, so those skills won't be necessarily applicable. And I talked to one of the people who's been his advisors for a very long time, and the challenge, they say, is, he's a former president. He doesn't take direction. He's been leader of the free world and leader of a big foundation, and so that's very hard to tell him what to do.
That's a very careful calibration for them, is it not? If he's in these town halls, if he's in these meetings with folks where he really excels, and sometimes she can be a little bit cooler, how do they figure out what he does and what she does?
But, when you mention that, I remember from 2008 watching dual town halls, and they had a great dance, because there's certain things he can say, and when he defends her in public, he can speak about her and characterize her in a way that's quite appealing, that she or anyone would find hard to do. It's hard to speak about yourself in a kind of sensitive and comfortable way, but when your husband does it for you, it can be quite powerful when they do it together and they do it successfully. But in the age of social media, you can be successful 99 times, and if on the 100th you say some quip, it'll rocket around the world, and you're in the soup again.
Amy, a very interesting note in one of your pieces about the advice that Bill gave to Mitt Romney backstage before a debate with Barack Obama. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. I love this detail because it's such a glimpse into President Clinton's mind, that he just is such a political thinker that he can't help himself. I mean, certainly John is right that he was President Obama's best, arguably his best surrogate in 2012, and really worked hard to get him reelected. At the same time, we heard in our reporting that backstage at the Clinton Global Initiative, before Romney came on the stage, he and President Clinton were sharing a moment, and President Clinton was giving him advice for how to take on Obama in the debates. And of course, that was the debate where Romney surprised everyone and outperformed President Obama. That was that first debate. So yeah, talking about how to use his stature and how he could get an edge on President Obama in the debate. I think it's just such a glimpse into President Clinton.
It reminded me, Amy, of that moment when President Clinton also told Paul Ryan that he thought the Democrats were being mean to him and beating up on him about his budget, and that he thought Ryan was doing the right thing. It was another one of those backstage moments that was captured, again, kind of just wanting to be in the mix with whatever warm body was next to him, and kind of telling him what that body wanted to hear.
Which should make the next year and a half all the more interesting. John Dickerson, thank you very much. Amy Chozick from The Times, appreciate it.
Thanks.